Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reds Rundown Podcast. This is by two lifelong Reds fans and journalists. I'm Rob. He's Joe, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Joe, we lead off every show asking, how's it going? How's life?
Oh, it's good personally. Just the Reds. I don't know what's going on with them. I have a little bit of a raspy voice. Don't know if it's a cold or maybe I have late onset allergies or maybe I was yelling at the TV too much this weekend. So could be anything, but we have a lot to talk about because of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We're not going to waste too much time because I think there's some diagnoses that need to happen here for the sickness that is the Reds baseball at the moment. Today, we'll do what we always do. We will start with the question of the day, which is going to be, let us know in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that great stuff. Are you more worried about the pitching or are you more worried about the hitting right now, Joe? The pitching's been the strength, the hitting's been coming on, but we're still having issues with both. We're going to dive into that here today. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are, like I said, in the comments below. We're also going to talk about the games this past week against the Rockies and Pirates. We'll go over the injury report. There are some notable things that have happened for this team. We'll get into that discussion question, and then we will get into a 4-game series against the Cubs and a 3-game series against the Astros. Joe, it is old school NL Central baseball this week. Two of the bigger rivals during the earlier portions of the 21st century here for our Reds. But, Joe, I think let's just not waste time. Let's get into the Rockies and the Cincinnati Reds. We started off the week on a very solid note, doing what we all expected. Chase Burns went out there and was pretty outstanding. He scattered 7 hits over 6 innings. He did give up 2 earned runs with 1 home run, but he struck out 9, walked 1. He would outduel Kyle Freeland, who would go out there and give up 4 runs. Spencer Steer would have a home run, and Elly Cruz would have his 10th home run of the year as well. Elly would have 3 hits. Dane Myers would have 2 off of Freeland there. Nate Lowe had 2 more. Stevenson, Brian Hayes would have 1 as well. The Reds would get 11 hits and win 7-2 in this first game. The middle game, that Wednesday game, was a weird one. It felt like they were getting to Sugano, but they ultimately just could not end up getting the hits off of him. I kind of felt like they were close to getting almost the whole game. But 3rd inning for him, 4 hits, 3 walks, only 2 Ks. But Brandon Williamson was the bigger story. The arm fatigue. That's kind of why he was missing a lot arm side. That's generally what happens when you're trying to push through arm fatigue. Would come back to get him 3 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks in this one. The Reds would also not be able to hit, but the bullpen for the first time would be extremely vulnerable. They would lean on some of the younger guys. Luis May would come in for 2 innings, give up 1 earned run on a solo home run. Jose Franco as well would give up 3 earned runs, 1 home run, 3 Ks. I will say Luis May, outside of the solo home run, I'll give this as well. He did strike out 4, though, so not bad. And then Jose Trevino would come in and pitch an inning, give up 5 earned runs, as the Reds could not afford any more pitchers. Will Benson would hit a home run to keep it from being a shutout in the 9th inning, but the Reds would drop it 13-2. The Reds would go on to win, though, the rubber match, something they'd struggled with last year. Andrew Abbott would have his 2nd best start of the whole season. He'd give up a 2-run home run to Freeman at the very beginning of the game, but then would settle in and only give up a couple more hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks over 6 innings, something they needed desperately. Connor Phillips as well would come in and get 3 strikeouts. Emilio Pagan would struggle to give up 2 runs, but it wouldn't matter because the Reds were already up 6-2 at this point. With another home run from Nate Lowe, a double from Nate Lowe, and TJ Friedl's 2nd home run of the year to really, kind of give some padding there, along with Spencer Steer. And the Reds would walk out of this one, in my opinion, Joe, feeling like, yeah, you lost one 13-2, basically 13-0. Again, I don't expect them to win every game. 2 out of 3 is something that you will take quite literally throughout the entire season. And this Rockies team is better than people are giving them credit for. Their pitching is, I think, much better than normal. Michael Lorenzen was pretty good up until he wasn't. I felt like a pitcher's duel between him and Abbott for a good portion of the day. Sugano was pretty strong. It was really just Kyle Freeland who came in off of an injury after he had been pitching pretty well for most of the season as well. So, the Rockies are no slouch, I would say, but the Reds were able to take care of business against them and get those 2 wins.
Yeah, they were. I thought it was kind of a sign of good things to come this week, to be honest. We kind of got done with that series. It was not everything was pretty, especially that second game, but it felt like some of the stuff was starting to go a little bit better. Rob, you mentioned Spencer Steer was heating up. Spencer Steer hit a home run in that first game. Elly had 3 hits in that first game. Burns is killing it this year for us, so that's always good to have. Second game, get blown out, and it just adds to the run differential BS that's going on with the Reds this year.
Everybody's so upset about run differential.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably overall not the greatest thing they're getting blown out so much, but at the end of the day, it still counts as 1 loss, so to keep on rolling. And then, the third game, it just, feels like Friedel was heating up a little bit, and he still kind of is, but then Lowe has a home run, and he's been on fire, obviously, the last little bit. And Abbott has his good game, and they talked a lot about it in the broadcast of, just him letting loose and doing things like he kind of used to, and it seems like things are kind of getting back to normal. You never want to judge it just off of a start against the Rockies, but maybe he needed that, get right start where he's going to get right after this because he got some confidence and he's fixing some things. That's going to have to be something that continues because I think, as we saw this week, Rob, I think it's one of those things where some of our guys are starting to hit that wall. You get into 30, 40 games in, whether that's Sal slumping or whatever, and we don't have our depth. Our depth is solid, but when you don't have your top tier guys like Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo in the rotation, you need other guys to step up, and Abbott specifically, we're counting on him to step up as the ace for the time being, and we needed him to. So, that's why I felt good about things to come. I was like, all right, well, we go in 2 out of 3. We got, a big series coming up. We got, Nick Lodolo injury update here a little bit later. I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty cool. And then a month and a half until we get Hunter Green back, maybe 2 months if you stretch it out a little bit. But then you're thinking, oh, things are pretty good. And now it's kind of, we'll talk about the Pirate series, but I do want to give that Reds a little bit of credit of taking care of business in the Rockies series. I know they beat the Rockies 5 out of 6 last year, or 6 out of 7, whatever it was, but there's a lot of times where this team just doesn't take care of the business they should take care of, and this year it does seem like they're at least doing that part of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and in my opinion as well, again, the AL is really not very good, but the NL, even from top to bottom for the most part, I think the Rockies are a better team than the Giants right now. It may be a hot take for some people. I know the Giants have more talent, but the Rockies are playing better baseball right now. And, when you've got guys Hunter Goodman is probably one of the 5 best hitting catchers in baseball. They're not as slouch of a team anymore. They're still not good, but they're not you should win every single game against them. They will have games where they'll put up runs, and that's fine. I feel like the Reds, for the most part, played good baseball other than that second game, and there's not much you can do when your starter has arm fatigue and tries to fight through it and doesn't really tell anybody. It looked pretty obvious to me, but I'm sure they felt the same way, but they thought, hey, we just got to kind of get through it. If the Reds had, Green and Lodolo, I think this series and I think the next one that we're going to talk about, Joe, I think are very different. When this pitching rotation is generally at its full strength, right? Because don't forget that when Green and Lodolo come back, that would mean you'll have Abbott, Burns, and then you'll have to pick between Rhett Lauder and Brady Singer at that point, and that kind of reinforces you and gets you back up because you need a stopper, right, Joe? You need that stopper. We've been relying on Abbott to be that guy. He's not been that up until this game, which is what we needed big time on that Thursday game. And Burns has been that, I think, other than him. So imagine a game where you're getting stoppers, lost streak stoppers, almost every single start. That's pretty incredible. And the depth has been challenged, but in this series specifically, Joe, it felt like a lot of the good depth decisions that they made, right? Especially Nathaniel Lowe. We said this pretty much verbatim at the beginning of the season, right? You want a professional hitter. Does not matter what he does necessarily in spring training. He has been proven. He has won a World Series. They talked about that on the broadcast during this series as well. He's a guy who just knows how to hit, and he's taking advantage of his extra time and has quickly moved his way, I'm sure, into Reds lore and fandom. He's reminding me a little bit of Johnny Gomes when he came in, Joe, where he was kind of going to make it, maybe not, and he comes in and just starts blistering home runs out of nowhere, and everybody's like, wait, what? Johnny Gomes wasn't, I think, as polished of a hitter as Nathaniel Lowe, but the way that they got onto the team and everything, it's just been reminding me of that, where, Gomes went on like that huge stretch right when he came up with the team that was trying to make the playoffs in the mid-teens for the Reds. So, and another guy who actually won a World Series with the Red Sox, funny enough. So, or won a World Series, but with the Red Sox. So, it was a good series. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it, but it was good to see as well. Spencer Steer really had himself a pretty nice series. I think he had hits in all 3 games. So he is really starting to heat up.
Yeah, quick shot for him. I mean, you mentioned it like last week, but 245 batting average now, 325 on base. WAR is still bad. I think some of it, he had misplayed some balls in the outfield too a little bit, but that's what happens when you change positions so often and make him play a bunch of different spots, and that's expected. I don't really think the WAR means that much for him as much. Other players on our team, it does mean a lot. I think it shows up in the play. It's not an end-all, be-all stat, but it is him coming on has helped this team a lot. We mentioned last week, Rob, that it had to be someone else besides Elly and Sal all the time, and Lowe stepped up last week, even a little bit this week, and then Steer as well. I think has really helped this lineup because pretty much everyone else has not been playing well. I mean, TJ Friedel had heated up a little bit this week, but it's still not exactly what you want out of your leadoff hitter either. So, good props for Spencer Steer there. I got nothing else on the series, though. I think we're ready to talk about whatever happened this weekend. So,
well, what happened this weekend, Joe, was we got sucker punched, I think, in the face, almost literally during the Sal Stewart at bat. But I'll just go through this quickly. The Reds got blown up. Brady Singer gave up 4. Zach Maxwell could not hold it down here in this first Friday game. And Mitch Keller, a guy who I've really felt like the Reds have handled in the past. It feels like he has finally become that guy who they had all hoped he would be for these last 6 or 7 years, however long it's been. A lot of people thought it'd be Keller versus Green, but Green kind of just blew by Keller. But he's had a pretty good year this year. He had a solid year last year. And the Reds just could not get anything going. Brady Singer could not even get through the 4th inning, unfortunately. TJ Friedel would add 2 hits. Spencer Steer with another hit. Elly would get the lone RBI for the Reds in the 6th inning. But by then, it was too late. It was already 8-0. And the Reds would go on to get 3 hits and 1 walk. They'd still only strike out 8 times, which you normally would think that'd be a double-digit strikeout game, but it really wasn't. Mitch Keller just was really solid. And Brian Reynolds does what he does against the Reds, and has been really heating up as of late, especially in this series. And then the Saturday game. I was never more happy to be at Music Hall, Joe, watching some orchestral Star Wars music from the Cincy Pops. Highly recommend Cincy Pops, by the way, if you like orchestra or movie music of any kind. The Reds would hit in this game, Joe. 11 hits, 7 runs. Most of the time you're thinking, wow, the Reds easily won that game. Elly with a double, Stevenson with a double, Blade with a double, Benson with a double, Benson with another home run, Blade with a home run. The problem was that Rhett Lauder had easily his worst start. He had no command whatsoever. He could not get through the 2nd inning. He gave up 5 in the 1st. Would end up giving up 3 more in the 2nd on 4 walks, and a good portion of that pretty much ended this game was that Connor Phillips could not get an out. For the first time, I believe, all season, his ERA jumps to a 3 because he gave up 2 earned runs on 4 walks. The Reds walked in 4 runs in that inning, Joe, which is pretty incredible. Brock Burke would also get lit up. Sam Moll was actually really the hero that almost kept this within being a game. If it had been 10-7, Reds might have been able to claw their way back. But the Pirates go 12 for 24 with runners in scoring position. Trevino would be called on again to give up 2 more runs. He has a 15 ERA. I'm sure that is not helping his WAR whatsoever. But the Reds lose by a football score of 17-7. Low-scoring one, but still one nonetheless. Finally, the Sunday game, you think, all right, Chase Burns is out there. Braxton Ashcraft, we did get to. Joe, if you remember last time, it took a little bit, but they figured it out. It would not be the case this time. Burns would go 7 innings, scatter 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, but ultimately would not be able to get the job done because the Reds would scatter 4 hits, Friedel and Blade with hits, Steer and Trevino with hits. You felt like maybe they had a shot a couple times, but Matt McLean would come up and Steer would get thrown out at home before anything could get done. Tony Santillan would give up a lone run. He had some control issues. Gregory Soto would come in and lock things down. The lone run would be O'Neal Cruz that would drive him in, who has been a very different hitter over the last 2 months of baseball than he has been pretty much his entire career. He's still striking out a ton, but he's making a lot of contact when he's not striking out, which is bound to stop at some point. This was also a really frustrating game for me, for Sal Stewart. And I'm going to talk about him a little bit later, Joe, but I believe he grounded out into 2 double plays, that really killed the Reds in this one. And what's funny is he had a chance to be the hero. He was about 8 feet away, I would say, from tying up the game in the 9th in the very last at bat, Joe. In Cincinnati, that would have been a tie game, no doubt about it. But a sweep of by the Pirates, the Reds would end up getting out hit 26 runs to 8. So true domination. And it's just frustrating for me, Joe, because every damn time that the Reds are good, so are the Pirates. And they're not the best team in the league. They had just been swept by St. Louis Cardinals, but who are also just playing out of their minds randomly. Nobody can figure out exactly why. I mean, their young guys are hitting, but even still. And this was like, I am just I'm so tired of this team for some reason seeing gold and black and not being able to do anything. This is not the Bengals. This is not the Reds of old. They should be able to handle business against a team like this, or at least make it competitive. And without Chase Burns just absolutely being unbelievable in this game, they did not look like they had a chance at all. The Reds even went up 2-0 in that game. They lost 17-7. I remember driving downtown thinking, okay, the Reds I'm going to pick up my mom to take her to this, the orchestral event, and the Reds are up 2-0. I'm like, okay, great. I'm gone for 5 minutes, and the Reds are down 5-2. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's just, I don't get it. I mean, I'm glad we've already played the Pirates and are done with them for a while. 5 of our 13 losses are to the Pirates this year, Joe. 5. Like, this team, it's like, if you just don't play the Pirates, there's a good chance the Reds are going to win a baseball game. But against this team, it's like they forget everything they know about hitting, pitching, fielding, running, everything.
Yeah, it is. The mental block between us and the Pirates for the last 5 years or so is so frustrating. And some of the teams we've been bad and we can't beat them. Some of the teams we've been good, we can't beat them. This is the best Pirates team they've had over that span. And it makes sense that we still can't beat them because this is their best team. But you would think that we would figure it out. We could go 500 against the Pirates, even if the Pirates are worse than us, and I still think that they are. They beat us head-to-head, but I think when we go look at the full schedule, I think at the end of the year, I think it's still going to be Reds above Pirates. Why can't we scrap out a 500 record? We're 1-5 against the Pirates this year. That's crazy. We had one series at home, 1 series away. So you feel like maybe you can get 3-3, however you want to do it. I know sometimes we beat them on the road more than whatever, but that's what's so frustrating. I think that there is a mental block of some sorts. I don't know if there's stuff hanging over from. Obviously, there's off the field issues here, or not off the field, but not baseball issues. We have their reliever hitting Sal Stewart. We've had our history with them fighting. I don't know if any of that's coming into play, but and some of the players on the team now, I guess, have been around and knew some of the guys who were on that old team where we had the Yasiel Puig and the Amir Garrett stuff. But I don't know, there's got to be something more to it. So they got to figure that out. And I think the frustrating thing too, Rob, is. It seemed like we were showing this such good progress. We won 5 straight series, right? We come off the Rocky series like, oh, we lost one, but it's okay, whatever. And then you come into this and you lose all 3. And I remember talking to you last week, if they could just win 1 against the Pirates and then get 2 against the Cubs, I'm fine because I know we struggle against the division, specifically the Pirates, but a lot of the division. And now we have the Cubs coming up, and it makes it even more frustrating. So, yeah, just to kind of go through things. Blown out game 1, blown out game 2. Game three, frustrating because Burns pitched so spectacularly and there was just nothing going. Spencer Steer got thrown out at home. Yes, I get that like he's going on contact in that spot, but it was right to the third baseman. They get him out easily. Again, I don't know. Maybe if he doesn't go, maybe if he stays the third, maybe the game changes somehow. I don't know. It would be second and third. They would have got McLean out at first in that rate, but it's just frustrating. So yeah, we set the record for most consecutive, tied the record for the most consecutive walks with 7 in that Saturday game. That's always fun. And I do think the bullpen had a bad week. They're obviously dealing with some stuff. There's some injuries. There's bereavement lists, guys coming and going. We're going to talk about a little bit more about that in a little bit. But yeah, Rob, this is a thing where I think we'll talk more about the offense and pitching later. I want to give Terry Francona credit in a couple ways first. Shaking up the lineup in the third game of the series, while it didn't work, we needed that to happen. Matt McLean has been awful. He had 1 walk this past week. So even like his on-base percentage, which is still above 300 and solid overall, he is not seeing the ball clearly. Cowboy talked about this. He's not seeing the top of the zone clearly. There's so many pitches that he's trying to swing out of the zone. He can't be your 2-hitter right now if you want to win games, and you have to move him down. And it would suck is you don't really know who to put up in the 2 spot. I know me and you both have our projected lineups of like Elly, Sal, Gino when Gino comes back, whatever. But it seems like maybe they don't want to do that. But I'll give him credit for putting Blade in the 2 spot. Blade had a pretty good week. If you're looking for some bright spots, Blade, Lowe, Steer had a good week. Elly still playing good overall. Yeah, Friedel as well. Elly had that awesome defensive play against the Rockies too. That was really cool. But yeah, it's frustrating. I'm glad we shook up the lineup. I think more shakeups are going to come if we don't get this offense going more consistently. It's cool that we scored 6 and 7 runs against the Rockies in those wins, and then we scored 7 runs against the Pirates. But then we scored 1 and 0 in the other game. And the 7 runs, some of them were early in the game, but then other ones were just kind of when it was already over, right? So it's like, okay, who cares? So that's what I think we're going to see a lot of shakeups here. I think we've already seen some roster moves. That's going to shake things up, but I also think that there are going to be more lineup shakeups in the future too, because you just can't. The pitching had a bad week too. 2 different games where they give up more than 13 runs is crazy, but you can't have games against. The Pirates have a lot of good pitchers too, but like you can't be shut out one game and get 1 run the next game, and then score 7 in a non-competitive game where you don't come close. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to. We'll talk more about it in a little bit, but. I appreciated Tito trying to shake things up, and I think Blade was the right guy to go with, given his track record against righties and how he was been playing. So that's the bright spot for me. Those guys playing well, Tito shaking up the lineup. But overall, like if they play the Pirates next time, I'm not going to be fooled again. I'm going to pick the Pirates to win at least 2 out of the 3 because I just can't. This team can, for some reason, cannot do it, no matter what on paper it says.
Well, and I will say this. I wanted to give Joey Bart a quick shout-out, too, because that Matt McLean at bat totally changed because of both of his challenges. Had the Pirates used, their last challenge earlier. I felt bad for McLean because it's like he's already been struggling, and I forget who was pitching, but just 2 absolute just dot curveballs like at the top corner. Like you just don't see that very often. Most of the time that pitch is hung, and you're just able to crush it. So, and all he needed to do was get it into the outfield, right? And so then he's in a bad position. He actually took a good fastball that I thought he might just swing at because he was so frustrated. But that changed everything for that at bat, I think, completely, challenging it twice even. So, sometimes you're just going to lose. This team is going to lose baseball games, right? Like maybe some things are regressing to the mean. Weirdly enough, the right guys are still like the guys who we were upset with, who were like, you're getting 100 at bats, they're starting to hit, but then the guys like Sal, even Elly a little bit, like they have regressed. You don't have Suarez there to run into one to kind of get you caught up in a game like against the Pirates there. We don't know when he'll be back yet, but look, I know that there are teams with more injuries, but like our top tier players, like we're just a team who cannot afford to continuously lose some of our top tier players and lose our number 1 strength, which was our starting pitching. And we are now officially currently down 3 starters. With Williamson going out, we are having Abbott, who has struggled, Louder, who just had a rough game, and Singer, who has been inconsistent. So you are really relying on Chase Burns right now to just be that guy, and he has been, but reinforcements need to get here and get here soon. And we're going to talk about that with the injury report, but I did want to give Joey Bart that shout-out to start this because I think that may have probably saved the game for them. I mean, it was just a really good situation for the Reds. You only have 1 out at that point. McLean has been struggling, and you get 2 strikes on him without him having to even swing the bat because you did good challenges. I mean, that's just good baseball. So good for him on that one, and we'll see. We'll see you next time, Pirates. We don't play you for a little bit here, luckily, and thank God we only have 6 more games. There are 162 games, and how many more games do we have left at this point, Joe? What is the Reds' record? We're 20 and 14, so that's 34. So we still have 128 games left, and only 6 of them are against the Pirates. So if the Reds play everybody else the way they should, they can afford to lose 6 more games to the Pirates if they have to. Just get that out of the way, because it is funny, because we're going to talk about the Cubs here, but the Reds this Reds team specifically has done well against the Cubs and the Cardinals, but bad against the Pirates and the Brewers. So it's an interesting conundrum there for our Cincinnati Reds. But if you don't have anything else, let's just get into the injury report, because that is quite the discussion of its own.
Yeah, it's just thank God the schedule makers change things up where we don't play the division as much. Is all I gotta say. So you're right.
I've never felt better about that.
most people hate it because all the rivalries are gone. You don't play your division as much. It's like you play all the AL teams and it doesn't matter. For us, it's very helpful that we don't play the division as much as we should. Probably.
No,
so,
we have smoked the AL, so that is good news. All right, injury report. Let's just start. Normally we just go through these. Joe, we're gonna go one at a time here. Brandon Williamson with arm fatigue. Chase Petty is called up to start the Monday game against the Cubs in Chicago. I believe he was with the team this weekend, or at least today. I want to talk about Williamson real quickly. The guy hasn't pitched in a while. Fatigue is normal. I think he probably is going to get set down pretty much as soon as Lodolo comes back and as soon as he's healthy. They're going to take their time with this one. It's really hard. It is really hard to be called on and expected to be as good as he had been when he hasn't really pitched in 2 years. So I know I'm Mr. Excuses or whatever you want to call me, but I do believe that Brandon Williamson is a better pitcher than what he has shown. I think he has literally busted his ass to even be available for this team. I mean, you don't expect to go down 2 of your best starters right at the beginning of the season. That normally you hope for 1 at most and maybe a lower end guy, but you lose your number 1 and number 3, and that can be really, really stressful on a team. You and I both had said that we wanted a veteran for them to sign, but they felt confident in Williamson. I think we both did as well, and I don't think he's been terrible. It's just his arm was dragging, and so that's why everything was outside, and that's why it was really only his breaking balls and occasionally his changeups that he was actually getting over the plate consistently, Joe. And you could just see it. Everything was up. Everything was out. It's why he was walking so many guys, and it's because he was giving everything his lower body had because his upper body was not able to get to it. We're actually very lucky that it's just arm fatigue because it could have been a lot worse. This is where guys genuinely get hurt. He was never going to be able to pitch a full season this year anyways. I have a feeling we will need him down the stretch. They're going to take a long time to just rehab him, give him some time to kind of rest again so that we can use him down the stretch run. I really genuinely believe that. We'll get into Chase Petty here in a minute, Joe, but what are your feelings with Williamson? Am I being too apologetic for him?
No, I mean, I it's time to send him down, or he's injured, but we were going to send him down anyway, so I would say I appreciate him being here because even if we signed a 5th starter, like a veteran guy, minor league starter, we can pull up to be a 5th starter, probably wouldn't have been ready for the start of the year at the time we would have signed the person. So he needed to have some decent starts. He did have a couple decent starts. Overall, not the greatest. We have 4 starting pitchers with an ERA over 5. That's not sustainable baseball, to be honest. Our bullpen, credit to them for the most part this year. I think he's a guy who could end up being a good back end of the rotation starter in this league. But you also have to take into account how much time he missed, and I really do think that they wanted him to start in AAA this year.
100%.
Kind of ease his way back, and maybe limit his innings, limit his pitches, where it's more in an environment where the winning doesn't matter. I'm sure they want to win, but you can monitor those things a little bit more. Whereas with the Reds, you have to try to win, and I think it was a tall task for him to come back and try to do it. So yeah, he didn't pitch great. For the most part, I appreciate the innings he did eat for us. I appreciate the good times he did have, the good couple starts he did have, and yeah, it's just it sucks that he got thrust into this position where he had to be on the team because of the other injuries. And I think you're right. I think because of how often our starting pitchers get injured, there's a world where maybe in July he's back up because someone else gets it. Andrew Abbott has arm fatigue or whoever Chase Burns gets hurt, whatever it is. That just seems to be our luck. So that's why we have depth, and I would say he is still a good depth piece. It's just he needs some time. He'll be back, and I think he'll be a little bit better whenever he gets the next call up here.
Yeah, I can guarantee you that we will see him later on this season. Caleb Ferguson, Joe, is pitching 2 more games in AAA, and then he will be back with the Cincinnati Reds. I expect that he will be back for the Astros series, unless if they really feel like they need him. I could see them having him pitch 1 more game and then have him called up sometime in Chicago. So it sounds like things are going well with him. He's actually the one that we've gotten like the least updates for. I think they've really been slow about how they're using him. I mean, Burke had his first really bad game of the season. What's really sad is like Burke just had his first bad game of the season, and Sam Moll actually really saved the Reds with that inning in 2/3. I fully feel like that game could have been like a 25-2 game very easily without him in there. So I don't know what they're going to do, Joe. I'm really not fully convinced yet because if Luis May kind of pitches well, there's a chance they'll just keep him up here. Again, I mean, even Connor Phillips kind of had, like, he's been walking guys a little bit, but he had, like, his true first bad game as well against Pittsburgh. So, I don't know. I'm not ready to write those guys off yet. I'm interested to see how this Cubs series goes, though, because I think it will determine who's going to get sent down for Ferguson at this point. I don't know if you have any thoughts with him as well, but that's generally where I'm at with them.
Yeah, he'll be such a big addition to this team. I think there still is a chance they can go 3 lefties, and that just lets you play the matchup game. And again, it's coming. He's coming back at a good time if he stays on track here from what we're hearing. It is, we've had Graham Ashcraft and Pierce Johnson go on the bereavement list. Ashcraft back now, Johnson on the bereavement list. You have injuries. You have Zach Maxwell coming up and down and up and down, and it's Franco's been getting lit up. Obviously we've had to go to guys like Kyle Nicholas in the past too, and it's just like that hasn't gone well. So the top end guys of the bullpen, the top guys of the bullpen. I mean, Pagana's even struggled a little bit, but like for the most part, the top end guys in the bullpen have been pretty solid for most of the year.
Yep.
This last week or so, maybe not the best, but I think really we can really get the depth of the bullpen back and better with Ferguson in there, and he does elevate the ceiling too because he's going to be one of our best bullpen guys, at least projected. So
he was projected to technically be our number 3 behind Santillan and Pagan. So, I mean, if he comes back and can just be the guy that he's been in the past, I think the Reds, I think you guys will see the bullpen will resurge and be okay, in my opinion. Eugenio Suarez, the official word right now is hopes to travel with the team on the road trip through Pittsburgh and Chicago and get another scan to see where he stands in the healing process. He has been running to stay in shape. Now, you've seen him in the bullpen, or in the dugout, talking with the guys. Feels like they're really taking their time on this one, which is fine for the most part. I just don't know what they're going to do when he gets back if Nathaniel Lowe continues to hit. That's going to be a discussion to be had. I think McLean might be getting for Sal. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really genuinely think there's a chance that could happen now. But what I'm more worried about, Joe, is it feels like they are really taking their time with this one. Like, I know it's May. I know we have a lot of baseball left to play. I just said 128 games still to play. But that number starts creeping up. Next thing you know, you're at, 60 games, and then you're at 100 games, and then you're at 120. Now, I don't think he's going to be gone that long. But you don't want to rush back an oblique. But at the same time, if it wasn't that bad to start from the way they were talking about it, I'm curious. Like, do you think that they're literally just at the point where they don't, like, as soon as he's healthy, they'll probably get him, like, 1 game down in AAA or Dayton, wherever they're closest to, and then just send him right back? Like, maybe they don't feel like he needs rehab starts. I mean, he's not even swinging yet, so that's not a great sign generally. But I'm curious, where are you at with how long this is going to take? Because I would like him to be back sooner than later.
Yeah, I think he'll be back soon. The broadcast today, they were talking about he's going to swing in the cages tomorrow,
Okay, that's good.
and they're just taking it slow because with any obliques or anywhere in the core, if one swing can throw it off, and they don't want to set him back. So I think they're playing a little bit of math here. They're like, hey, yes, we got swept by the Pirates, but we're 6 games above 500. With Hunter Green out, with Nick Lodolo out, let's make sure we take it slow until we desperately need him, and maybe we press the panic button, bring him back when things are good. But yeah, I think maybe it's hey, 1 game in the minor leagues, maybe zero. I don't probably not maybe zero, but because I think if he's good to go, and like he might go right back on the IL if he has one bad swing. So I think it might be something where it's like, okay, come back, and if you can give us anything, give it to us, and if it gets worse again, we'll put you on the IL. So I'm a little bit worried about him coming back too soon because I think obviously the reason he's on this team, the reason why we signed him is the power. And I do think that with those injuries, the power could very vastly be different. I would still like him in the lineup as a threat, to be honest. But yeah, I will see. I guess the biggest thing is I guess we'll see how the swinging in the cage goes tomorrow. But yeah, we definitely need him back, and we need him to have that pop in the bat because we were talking a little bit offline, Rob, about how we just want him to get the 30 home runs, 30 minimum, and the deal's worth it. Obviously, we would like him to hit more. He hit 49 last year. It'd be nice if he hits 40, 50 home runs, but now that he's missed time and everything and oblique, like maybe we're kind of resetting our expectations, and just having that threat in the lineup can help so many different things. It can help protect guys, and yeah, I want him back soon. But I would say, yeah, let's see how the swinging goes tomorrow, and maybe back by the end of the week if you can do that, and you can ease him into it maybe.
That would be ideal. That would absolutely be ideal. I'm not convinced that he'll be back that soon, but I would be very happy if that were the case. I think we both would be extremely happy if that were the case. So we'll move on. Nick Lodolo is coming back this week, Joe. He had a great 2 starts. They officially announced he will be pitching on Friday, unless if, God forbid, that stupid freaking blister reopens while he's throwing this week. I think they will probably just keep him to fastballs pretty much the entire week, if we're being honest. But he only gave up 1 run. I don't know if it was earned or not, but he goes 4 1/3, strikes out 6. This was in AAA, so much better hitters against Omaha, which I believe is the Royals. So, good stuff there from him. He's pitched now, I believe it's 9 1/3 innings of 1-run baseball in the minors and struck out, I want to say 13. So he looks pretty nasty. He looks right. I mean, he has not lost a step in terms of his being like pitch ready. Right, Joe? Like, they've still had him throwing the entire time, so he'll be built up and could theoretically go a 7-inning game on Friday when he returns against Houston. So I'm really excited about that, personally. Getting Nick Lodolo back is going to be massive for this team. I think just getting another guy in there who can be as devastating as he can be, I think it'll even help Abbott. I think it'll help. I think it just helps the entire group, gives them, maybe that push that they needed, and it means that we really only have to see Chase Petty for 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not Chase Petty. Come up and let it rip, dude. Like you had 19 ERA last year, up three games, but still that's awful. And then down in AAA, it's 4.38. So it's not like you're killing it. Just come up and let it rip. See what happens on Monday. Hopefully, you can help us get a win, and that'd be nice. And you can kind of continue to develop down at AAA when everyone gets healthy. Lodolo is going to be a huge boost, Rob. A guy that his stuff is a lot nastier. Right now we have Chase Burns, who has some heat. We have Rhett Lauder and Abbott, who can place the ball. We have Brady Singer, who has a little bit of everything, but really just an innings eater for us. Now you throw in Lodolo into that mix, and it's like the break that he has is crazy. Now, again, we're hoping he doesn't have any blister issues. He did throw 6 sliders in his first rehab start. He threw 16 in this last one. So that is a good percentage of, hey, if it is popping up right now, and he threw 16 of them, I feel like, okay. The way I'm looking at it, Rob, is that I guess with the way this has happened, this can happen at any time. So, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, Rob, but like, fuck it, YOLO. Throw as many sliders as you want, dude. If you get another blister, let's go. We need good pitching right now, and I'm just gonna expect that he's gonna miss time later this season for something. But let's get the best baseball possible out of him. Let's get him to a point where he is helping this team roll. So like I hope the slider doesn't give him any more issues, but the fact that he threw 16 is a good sign for us right now.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up throwing, I think, 70-something pitches, so, not his normal amount. I think he generally is closer to, like, 25 to 30% sliders, right? But it's close enough, right? I mean, if he's throwing a few less, that just means he's going to be, working on, I think he throws both fastballs, changeup now, and a sweeper, technically, as well. So if he can just, mix up his pitches a little bit more, use his slider in times when he needs to maybe get ahead in the count, get the strikeout, get an out, right? If they're very selective about when they throw it, then it could be great news. So it'll just be really good to have him back on the mound and hopefully just get through the first one. I think if he can just get through that first start, then I think he'll start to feel a lot better. He'll roll. Hopefully he won't worry about it too much and be in his head too much because I do know for the last few years, he has picked at that finger, dude, like forever. So, I genuinely hope that he has built up a callus that is the size of Mount Rushmore at this point on his freaking fingers. So that would be great. Pierce Johnson goes on the bereavement list, like you said, right after Graham, unfortunately. We don't know. I've not heard, at least. Most of the time I was doing some stuff, so I had the broadcast on mute. But we don't know why. But, yeah, I mean, the Reds are going through it, not just on the field, but off the field, too. The weird part for this one was, Joe, they recalled Blake Dunn over Noelvi Marte, who has been playing pretty well. I never really expected to see Blake Dunn on this team. Here's the only thing I'm going to say to you, Tito. If you freaking play Blake Dunn at all over anybody else at this point, I will actually lose my mind. Because they loved this guy last year coming out of spring training, if you remember, and they still believe that he's pretty solid. I am not convinced. I'm always happy to be wrong when it comes to stuff like this, Joe. I don't care. Put Blade in against the lefty, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think we play Imanaga, but by then I would anticipate that they'll have somebody else up. I can't remember who else we're facing that might be a lefty. I don't think we are. I think there's 3 righties and a lefty against Chicago. So, depending on how long Pierce Johnson is out. I don't know. I just don't. I don't want Blake Dunn in there unless if we are blowing them out. Yeah, that's the only time.
Yeah, I think this might be. I'd have Marte out. Like we both said, Rob. We want Marte to stay on the roster. We want him to play pretty much every day in right field and just prove something. Maybe not with maybe Blade changes things now, but like Marte was the one where I was like, why are we bringing him back up? Hector Rodriguez even. The Reese Hines stuff, I'm glad we're done with it. Just let him go develop again and figure out how to hit something that's not a fastball. That'd be nice. So I'm glad that they made the move. And my only thing is maybe they're bringing him up just to have a body, right? Like, because they don't want to use the options for Marte or Rodriguez if they pull him up and have to send him back down.
It's true.
And maybe Dunn's that just 26 man on the roster who's just going to pinch run, late defensive substitution. If he's used that way, pinch runner, that type of thing, I'm okay with it. But if it's like getting real at bats or a real playing time other than that, that's where it gets to be an issue. I hope it's just for a body. But if it isn't just for a body, then front office needs to be like really looked at and talked about in terms of getting guys on the roster who can actually help this team because Marte is killing the ball, dude. So that's what's going to be something fun to watch this week. Something to be mad about as Reds fans if he does play a lot more or if the other guys keep on hitting the ball in AAA. Yeah, that's how I see him being used. I hope it's just pinch running. I hope it's just defensive, late substitution, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Marte's not had much. I mean, he had a little streak there where he was getting a bunch of multi-hit games. He's only had 2 games that he has not got a hit in since he's been down there. So, and that's 14, 15 games, something like that at this point. So, yeah, I mean, he is hitting the ball quite well at the moment. He even had a home run yesterday, it looks like, against Omaha. So, he's had 3 home runs since he's been since he's been sent down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 RBIs, bunch of walks, only a few strikeouts. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to really, really send home that point that they were trying to make earlier. But if you're going to tell me that Blake Dunn is better or going to be more helpful to this team than Noelvi Marte. I just don't believe that. So we'll see, though. I mean, Tito does get his guys that when they're in the doghouse, man, you gotta dig your way out big time. We saw that with Will Benson. Looks like Marte may have to do the same thing, but I'm hopeful that when Marte comes back up, he becomes the everyday starter. That's my hope. So if they don't feel like he's ready for that yet, then that is what it is. That's the extensive injury report. Let's get into the main topic very briefly before we get into the upcoming games. Joe, are you more concerned with the Reds pitching or hitting? Here's what I'm going to give the preface with. Everyone struggled in the Pirates series. The bullpen struggled in the Rockies series, but they were able to kind of dig their way out of it a little bit. Abbott finally had a strong outing. My biggest problem is Sal has not really hit since we were in Tampa, which is like 10 games-ish, I think, now at this point. And Lauder has had his hiccups, but clearly Chase Burns is legit. Overall, who are you more worried about?
Yeah, it's still the hitting for me. I could see the argument for pitching because I think the bullpen could be taxed at a certain point I'm glad we had Jose Trevino throw out there the other day against the Pirates, but no, they could be taxed later in the season. But I think the thing for this is I do think that the starting pitchers are going to get better. I don't think the four people above 5 ERA is going to stick. I think that all those guys will improve. We're getting reinforcements. Lodolo is going to come back soon, obviously. We have Hunter Green coming back, again, a month or two, whatever. We have Caleb Ferguson for the bullpen coming in soon. So I feel like the reinforcements there are pretty good ones, and I do think that the bullpen's already been good, and the starters hopefully will settle down and figure things out. Hitting's the problem, though, for me, because there is still, like, the reinforcements for them coming back is Suarez coming back, right? And that's awesome. He was doing okay before he got hurt. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but, it was okay and solid for us, and that's fine. I think his protection is going to be something that can help these guys, but really, it's gotten to the point in the season where our batting average has gone up a decent amount in the last couple weeks, Rob, up to 220. And I know everyone prefers, other stats, but I do want to see us hit the ball, put it in play more, especially with our team. This is again, it's just Elly and Sal for the most part, with other guys stepping up in little chunks. But we need more of a solid lineup if we're going to really be competitive. So, checking up the lineup was a good first start, Rob. But, we need someone else besides Elly and Sal to step up. Spencer Steer obviously has been good. Friedel's been stepping up. I think they will get back to being pretty solid, or at least what we expected them to be this year, which is maybe not the best lineup in the league, but pretty solid lineup. But I think the steps they have to take to get there are still very, very big. Because it really is, like, you need Suarez to come back, you need McClain to see the ball better, you need Friedel to keep on raising that batting average. Again, he's doing fine for right now. You need Steer to stay at where he's at, 240. I'm fine with 245, as bad as it sounds for right now, the way the team's been hitting. You need to figure out whether Lowe's going to play every day when Suarez comes back. Like, what do you do with that? Do you take McClain out of the lineup? Do you move Sal to second base? There's so much more to figure out. So I would say I'm still more concerned about the hitting. But I could see how someone could make the argument for pitching based on how the starters have performed. Or people just like to complain about the bullpen. I think the bullpen's going to be fine. I think they all have rough weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, rough. Everyone has a rough week, and if this is our rough week, we bounce back and go back to being top 5 in the league ERA. I'm fine with that. So I think it all figured itself out. But yeah, I think the hitting is something that we just don't have those reinforcements coming back in the same way that the pitching does, and that could be something of an issue in the future.
So I'm going to point out two things. One, I was looking, Joe, and Matt McClain's defensive wars and defensive play has actually... I'm confused as to why it's ranked so low, because it doesn't feel like he has played poorly. I don't know about you, but I actually feel like he's generally played really well. But his defensive runs saved and stuff like that are all pretty low. He's like one of the lowest at his position. I would love for somebody to explain it to me, because the eye test has told me that he's played very well for the most part, but if he's really not that great, then the argument to have Sal go to second base starts to kind of creep in. Because here's the deal. You got to play Suarez. Remember what I said, Joe, about when the last time that Sal was hitting was? It was Tampa Bay, right? Guess when Eugenio Suarez's last played game was? April 22nd against the Tampa Bay Rays. So, you could say that that's just... what it is. Lowe's been feasting off of better pitching, because I think people maybe take the break off a little bit for Sal, but yeah, that doesn't feel like totally a coincidence to me. Is the way that I want to put that out there. I think it at least has a little bit to do with it. I think my other thing with Sal right now is he's being very impatient, not only in the box hitting, but even with the way that his body language is right now. Like everybody's out to like take him down, right? Which can be okay, but like I want him to get back to being the guy who, like, yeah, you're gonna have your ups and downs. You're a young guy, but I want him to kind of just refocus, recenter himself, right, and realize that you don't have to swing at everything. I mean, he is swinging at everything right now. The patience has gone out the window. It feels like almost, almost completely at this point. And I think that's one of the things that we really liked about him. This is one of the things that I think we felt like was really good for him. But currently, he has just not really been doing that. He has walked, let me see here. Let me check here. 2, 3. He has walked 3 times in his last 10 games. And that's when the batting average has started to plummet. He got up to 303 against Detroit. And since then, it's just been kind of bad, honestly. And I think a lot of it has to do with his patience. He has not walked in over a week at this point. He has had 2 hits in the Colorado series, and that was it. So you're going to have your bad series for sure, but I want to see him to getting back to being a little more patient and allowing the game to come to him. Just take a deep breath. It's not all personal. You don't have to get. I mean, I like his fire. Don't get me wrong. But you don't have to think that everybody's out there ready to fight you. You just got to kind of sometimes just, you can use that internally even. And then when you feel like the team needs it, you can go for it. And maybe that's what he was trying to do with the Pirates. But I wanted to talk a little bit about him because he's definitely my concern right now. Because everybody else is starting to hit. TJ Friedl is almost up to 200. Let's not forget, TJ Friedl was down in like the 080s. And everybody was like, you need to get rid of him. You need to get rid of him. I mean, he ripped a double today. I feel like his at-bats have been better. He's being more aggressive. It is coming at a cost of his walks, but, like, I don't really care if he's going to continue to hit the ball like he has. I mean, he's had pretty much all of his extra base hits over the last week, which is great. I think really good for this team because he's setting the ball up right. Like we talked about, Spencer Steer has started to hit. Blade has started to hit. I mean, quite literally almost everybody, even Key Brian Hayes, has been hitting a lot better than people are getting them credit for. If Sal can kind of get back to doing what he's doing, I think he is the key right now, Joe, because you can't. It's really tough. He did not have a single hit in Pittsburgh. He went 0-13 in Pittsburgh. If you combine that with the 0-3 in Colorado from the night before, he's, I think, 0 for his last 17 in the with the Colorado series as well. So young guys are going to go through slumps. There's no doubt about it, but they really need him to get it right in Chicago if they're going to figure it out. Because then because if he does, then that's when I start worrying about the pitching. Because I do think the rest of the hitting has started to come along. So it was worth asking, I felt like. But that's kind of where I'm at with them.
Yeah, it does make it so some tough decisions will be made in the next couple of weeks, I feel like. And some playing time will change. There'll be a lot of see how good teammates some of these guys are, if they take the lesser roles or whatever. There's going to be some lineup shakeups. We saw it yesterday with McClain go into the 9-hole. Does that stay? I mean, again, we talked preseason. Prototypically, like if he's your ideal number 2 hitter. Like he's exactly what you want in number 2 hitter. But this isn't playing like it. And again, maybe moving him down the order will take some pressure off. I know he said he was a player who thrived under pressure, but
Clearly
it just
not.
doesn't feel like that. So maybe that was him talking and trying to talk himself up. So maybe that means that like the lineups we proposed before the season, Rob, where it is. Elly lead off, Sal, and then Gino when he comes back. Or if you want to keep Friedl in number 1 because he is hitting better, then you do Friedl. Maybe we put Sal at number 2 so he has Elly protecting him to start. Like it's a lot better
don't hate
than
that.
It's a lot better than where he's at behind Elly, and now everyone's trying to get Sal out because then they pitched into Daniel Lowe or whoever else is batting behind him. Maybe that's what the shakeup might be. And like I think that if you're like a leadoff hitter, sometimes there's like this, let's get him used to being a leadoff hitter or something like that, or let's try to get a routine, but I don't think people have to get used to hitting in the order at a certain spot like they used to. Like there used to be like defined roles. Like if you're 8 or 9, maybe you're just or 8, I guess in the past for us. But maybe you're a guy who's going to bunt people over. You're going to do this stuff. now it's like the way the baseball's changed, everyone's just hitting for power, for home runs, and yeah, we're a team that I think has done better this year with home runs, with the 19 from Sal and Elly. Maybe let's just get those guys the most at bats. Sal's even stealing bases, so it's not like the prototypical number two hitter, but let's get the protection in there until Gino can come back. Because I think you made a great point that the dip did happen after Gino went out, and Gino's presence, whether he is 100% or not, is going to scare teams and not want to give up home runs. So until he comes back, maybe that's a shakeup. But I do think that the offense will like I said, I'm still more concerned about the offense, but I think it'll get back to a decent level. And I think the lineup changes and shakeups will be pretty cool. And I like that Tito did that with Bleday in the 2 spot to start, but maybe it's moving Sal up just to help him, because I think we can get lost in some of this stuff. Like the small picture for us right now is winning games and everything, but also I want to make sure Sal has the best season possible and develops. So it'd be nice to have him in the 2 spot and see what he can do for the time being. But we'll see. We'll see who's coming back when. We'll see who's going to move up and down the order. But yeah, I think you make a good point about Sal. Maybe we need to protect him more.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's 2 for his last 28. He's 24 for his last 115 in his last 30 games. Obviously, he started off red hot, and we knew he would regress, but he's not done a whole lot since the 2 home run game against San Francisco, really and truly. The goal will be, he's had the 1 game against Tampa as well, but I don't mind a lineup of, Friedel with Sal, Elly, and then Suarez, and then I think you can easily put Lowe, or you can put Steer there at the 5. Like, again, I'm so tired of the Steer slander. He is quite literally almost, he's so consistent. He starts off slow, it seems like, and then he just kind of goes through the season and gets you like a hit a night, basically. And a lot of the times that's going to be in the clutch. So, look, if Spencer Steer finishes the year at 260, I think you and I are going to both be very happy with him. And he's still on pace for like 20 plus home runs. So I'm cool with him being your number 5. Yeah, could there be better people? Whatever. If you really want the switching up of the lefty, righty, whatever, right, then that lineup kind of does that, like almost perfectly still. You can put Lowe at 5, you can put Steer at 6, and you just go, because Nathaniel Lowe, by the way, can play a full season of baseball. He does not have to be somebody who gets relegated to the bench. If he's going to continue to hit, you can put him there in that 5 hole, and your 1 through 6 still look really good. Yeah, we got to figure it out. I think Stevenson's going to hit later. I think McLean will hit a lot better down. We've seen him do it multiple times where he gets sent, to the bottom of the lineup, and he starts to hit because the pressure is off. He's ideally a really good 9 hitter too, because he's so freaking fast. I don't mind having him down there. It sounds like, I thought one day he might be like one of the best 2 hitters in baseball. It just doesn't feel like he's going to be that guy. I just think he's too in his head, and he presses as much as anybody on the team, even if he doesn't show it as outwardly as others. So, whatever. And if Brian Hayes is your 8-hole hitter, who cares, right? The rest of that lineup's good enough. I don't see much of an issue with it. So we'll have to see what happens there, but I felt like this was a good exercise for us. So let us know. Which one are you more afraid of, hitting or pitching? We'll see. Let's get into the upcoming games, though, Joe. We got the Cubs first. This Cubs team has been frustratingly good. I don't really know exactly how, I think similar to us, how they continue to do what they're doing, but they are. They are playing great baseball again. And it's, you got Moises Balestros, who's been really freaking good. I think one of the few people who can challenge Sal right now for Rookie of the Year. He's batting .317 at the moment. Dansby Swanson's been hitting for, power. Seiya Suzuki had struggled a little bit with his power early on, but that has picked up. Nico Horner has picked it up. Alex Bregman has picked it up. Pico Armstrong is not what he was, but, that's okay. Starting pitching has been what you and I both thought would be suspect at best so far this season. They lost Cade Horton early on in the year, and that has been a problem. But their bullpen, for the most part, has been pretty solid. Feels like everybody's doing closer by committee these days. They have blown a good few bit of saves for the most part, Joe. I believe Danny Palencia was supposed to be their closer, but he got hurt early on as well. They've definitely had their fair share of injuries, but they just continue to find ways to win by just being a solid up and down the lineup baseball team. But they're definitely one that still has their issues. They have patient hitters, but guys who will still strike out. They have guys who will hit for power, but then they'll go through full-on power spurts. I don't know. They're a good team. I'm not going to discount this team whatsoever.
Yeah, they're a team that we talked about us improving our batting average. We're up to 220. They're at 258. I mean,
Yeah.
oh boy, that sounds awesome. I love that.
We would
But
never have lost
yeah,
with a 258 batting average. Sorry.
good. Nico Horner's had a good year for them. 301 batting average, leading the team with a 2.0 WAR. Now, Rob, again, division we struggle with. Sometimes we do well against the Cubs, though. This is a good time to get them. You mentioned the starter issues. They have two guys who are Cade Horton, Justin Steele, long-term injuries, and that's going to take. Obviously, it's going to build up on them over time. They're going to have all these guys who aren't the greatest starters starting for them. They're definitely going to be in the market for a starter at the deadline. They may also be in the market for a reliever at the deadline. They have 6 guys from a reliever standpoint on the IL right now. So, yes, does the offense scare me? Yes, but does as the opportunity for our offense to get going, is it there? Absolutely, it is. So that's why I think I'm not saying this is over. We're playing a division team, all that stuff. I think there's a lot of room for us to do some damage this series. Yes, we do get Shota, and we do get Edward Cabrera in the series. Those are the two best starting pitchers they've had for most of the year. But I think there's a chance we can at least split the series. So that's, I want to say we win 2. And again, maybe I want to win 3 after losing all 3 to the Pirates. But bouncing back and splitting a series on the road against the Cubs is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I forgot to say, by the way, it's Chase Petty versus Edward Cabrera, Andrew Abbott versus Jamison Taillon, Brady Singer versus Colin Rea, and then Rhett Lauder versus Shota Imanaga currently. So, look, the Reds have hit these guys all pretty well for the most part. Cabrera started out well, but has struggled a little bit more recently. Imanaga's really been their guy right now, Joe. But I think Rea's very hittable. I think Taillon, he's given up 9 home runs already this year. That's been the majority of the run production for him. So, I would say that this team is definitely beatable. I think it's really going to come down to where is the wind blowing in Chicago? Can the Reds get that little extra boost that they need and pitch against it or not? I'm still going to go for 2 here as well. I think this team will bounce back. I mean, they were having so much fun. I think literally all it takes is one really good inning in the first 3 in that first game. You get Chase Petty to hopefully just keep him to 3 runs or less. I think Cabrera's very hittable right now. I think, they'll run out a similar lineup that they did today. I think Bleday will probably bat second here against Cabrera. Nate Lowe will be up there as well. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him, batting right there in that 5 spot once again. So if everybody else continues to hit the way that they have and Sal kind of picks it up just a little bit, then I think they're going to do okay in this series. We head home for a big one against our former rival, the Houston Astros, who have been, let's just say it, Joe, they have been probably the biggest disappointment in baseball, at least on the AL side, because the Mets and Phillies have both been pretty awful, although the Phillies have been playing a little better lately. The Astros have been just abysmal compared to what I think everybody thought. They're 14-21 at this point in the season, and it's not like they don't have Yordan Alvarez this time. Last season, they struggled a little bit without him. This season, they're just not really getting it done. And it's been mostly their pitching. Their hitting's been pretty solid for the most part, Joe. But their starters, outside of Spencer Arrighetti, have been atrocious. It's been bad. I don't know how else to put it. But their pitching has been really bad. This feels like a great series for our Cincinnati Reds. As long as they can get to Spencer Arrighetti, I feel very confident the Reds will send out Nick Lodolo against Mike Burrows. Mike Burrows has a almost 6 ERA in 7 starts. He's given up 8 home runs as well. He's not really striking out many guys necessarily. Pretty good spot there for the Reds. You'll have Chase Burns going up against Spencer Arrighetti. That could be a really nice pitcher's duel on Saturday. And then right now we're projecting Chase Petty technically to pitch then. They might just send him down with Lodolo back and go Abbott, but we'll have to see. I don't know for sure. And Andrew Abbott technically could start there. I would have to think that that's the way that they would prefer it, but I have Petty just in case. And they have a question mark. They have no idea who's going to start for them. We don't really either. It'll be one of the two. I would assume it'll be Abbott, but I have Petty there just in case. Joe, I am going to just start us off by saying 2-1. I want to pick 3-0. I really do. I think, there are rock, paper, scissors type matchups in baseball, and their hitting may be good, but our pitching is generally pretty good. Their pitching's bad. Our hitting has been average, so generally that should give us the advantage, but feels like we'll find a way to lose one of these games. Yordan Alvarez just goes off and has like 6 RBIs in a game or something like that. That's just, he's really freaking good. But I feel very confident coming into this series right now. We'll have to see how battered and bruised we are from the Cubs series, but with Lodolo coming back, when you get Lodolo, Burns, and Abbott, that really, against a bad team, that sets you up for a potential sweep.
No, it does. You're right. This offense is amazing. 269 batting average, 347 on base percentage. Alvarez and Walker have 20 home runs combined. Mm-hmm. We're playing in a small ballpark. That scares me. Jose Altuve isn't the same. I think everyone's known that the last couple of years. Carlos Correa, though, is having a little bit of a renaissance back with the Astros now. He's hitting 288. It is a good lineup. It is a deep lineup. It is something we'll have to be cognizant of when these guys come up the bat and pitching around some of the power hitters especially. You're right about the pitching. It is dog shit. It is bad. It is, oh boy, starters are bad. The bullpen ERA is the worst in the league by a decent margin, 6.2. The next closest is the Angels at 5.5. That's crazy. So hopefully that keeps up for us. I will say, Rob, I think, again, this is a roster we're playing them at a good time. They have 6 starters on the IL. They have Josh Hader, their best reliever, on the IL. They have 5 position players on the IL. I'm going to go 2 out of 3. It's very hard to come back and try to be positive after losing all 3 to the Pirates. I do think there's a mental block there. I think would have loved an off day Monday to kind of reset and figure things out. We don't have it, but I think they're going to get things flowing a little bit in the Cubs series, get 2 wins in that one. I think they get 2 wins in this Astros series to win it at home. But again, yeah, we'll have to pitch around some guys. We'll have to avoid Yordan and get some key outs against some other guys. But I think this is a team that is... I mean, yeah, the offense is good, but overall, they're just a bad team because the pitching is that bad. So I'm going to go 2 out of 3.
Yeah, what's interesting is, again, we line up very well against their lineup, is the last thing I'll say here. Yordan Alvarez especially, obviously the big lefty on that team. He could be a great lefty, and he's really freaking good. I want to say that. He will get his hits, but, Lodolo and Abbott are not exactly guys who he's going to match up super duper well against compared to most other pitchers. And even Chase Petty is a guy who can blow it past him. So I'm really hopeful that if he starts out hot in a game, they just end up walking him later in the game, honestly, if they can. I don't really mind that. He is that good. I did see, I forget who it was. Somebody put out an article about why the Reds should go out and try to get Yordan Alvarez. Even if it's only for 1 year, because he'll be a lot cheaper. And I think he's going to be a free agent next year. He will definitely be leaving to go somewhere else. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in Philadelphia or something like that next year. But, man, can you imagine that guy in the middle of this lineup as well? If the Reds could trade away, Singer and some other stuff. I cannot remember. It might have been Zach, Joe, who wrote that article. But he did some convoluted stuff to get the Reds there. But I was like, hey, I don't mind it at all. I'd be very happy to have Yordan Alvarez on this team. I think he would. This team would be a World Series favorite with Yordan Alvarez. That's how good he is. I think he's one of the best players in baseball. So it's going to be a tough series with him there, but like you said, I feel like we're in a good spot. So, yeah, Joe, I mean, that's going to wrap it up for us here. As per usual, we will leave, though, with your wise words and fun facts.
Yeah, I had to dig a little bit for this one after the end of the week, but Elly, 10 home runs, 8 stolen bases, which before his team's 30th game, he joins a crew of Vlad Guerrero, not the one now, the one senior. We have Larry Walker, we have Mo Vaughn, we have Eric Davis, and Ken Williams. That is very good company.
Very good.
And I think what has been lost, I mean, maybe nationally they're not talking about it, but I've seen a couple of national shows talk about Elly being the best shortstop in the league right now, and I think he's putting himself right up there. So if you can keep this up, that'd be amazing. Let's get Suarez back to help protect guys behind him, so there's protection for 3 spots in a row. That'll help out a lot. But yeah, Elly's defense has been good too. That play against the Rockies. So just wanted to shout out Elly. I think if you're looking for a bright spot for this Reds team, especially after this week, it is Elly at the top. It is Daniel Lowe having a good couple weeks. Friedel's turning it on, and we're gonna get some reinforcements too. So just that's some good news to end the show.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it, guys. Keep your heads up. It's one series against Pittsburgh. Otherwise, this team has continued to be about as good as any in baseball. You're going to get swept sometimes. You're going to lose some games. Even the Yankees and the Dodgers lose games. I think the Dodgers lost 2 of 3 to the Cardinals this weekend, Joe. So that stuff happens. Even the NL West, as vaunted as it is, had a 19-game losing streak that was ended either today or yesterday combined, which is pretty crazy to think about a whole division losing 19 games in a row. But that's how it goes sometimes. So that is going to wrap it up for us here, though, on this one. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.